You know that moment when you cut into your steak and it's gray, tough, and swimming in juice that should have stayed inside? Yeah, we've all been there. Today I'm going to show you the 5 mistakes that are absolutely destroying your grilled steaks and, more importantly, how to fix every single one of them. Stick around because mistake number 3 is probably something you're doing right now without even realizing it, and it's costing you the best part of the steak. Let me start with mistake number 1, and this is huge. People are not getting their meat dry enough before it hits the grill. I know it sounds almost too simple to matter, but here's what's actually happening. When you take that steak out of the package, it's covered in moisture. If you just throw it straight on the grill with all that wetness, you're essentially steaming the surface of your meat instead of searing it. That moisture creates a barrier between the heat and the protein, and instead of getting that beautiful brown crust that's packed with flavor, you end up with a gray, sad-looking steak that tastes bland. The science here is called the Maillard reaction, and it only happens when the surface is dry and the temperature is high enough. So here's the fix, and it's going to feel like overkill, but trust me on this. Grab several paper towels and press them firmly against every surface of that steak. You want to see those paper towels coming away completely wet. Keep going until the paper towels are barely picking up any moisture at all. The steak should look almost matte when you're done, not shiny or glistening. This one step alone will transform your results. Now, let's talk about mistake number 2, which is under-seasoning. I see this constantly. People get nervous about adding too much salt, and they end up with a steak that tastes like unseasoned meat with a tiny hint of flavor on the outside. Here's what you need to understand about seasoning a steak. Salt doesn't just sit on the surface. It actually penetrates into the meat and enhances the natural beef flavor throughout. But for that to happen, you need to be way more generous than you think. When I say cover the entire surface, I mean you should barely be able to see the red meat underneath the seasoning. We're using kosher salt because the larger crystals give you better control and they stick to the meat better than fine table salt. After the salt, you want to add a generous amount of freshly ground black pepper. Don't be shy here. The heat from the grill is going to mellow out that pepper and create this incredible aromatic crust. Then comes the garlic powder, and this is my secret weapon. Fresh garlic would burn on a high-heat grill, but garlic powder toasts perfectly and adds this deep, savory flavor that makes people wonder what your secret is. Once you've seasoned one side, press those seasonings into the meat with your palm. This helps them adhere better so they don't just fall off when you flip the steak. Then flip it over and repeat the exact same process on the other side. Don't forget about the edges either. Take all that excess seasoning that's sitting on your cutting board and rub it all around the sides of the steak. You want every single surface covered because every surface is going to be exposed to heat. Here's mistake number 3, and this is the one that catches everyone. Your grill is not hot enough. Not even close. Most people turn on their grill, wait a few minutes until it feels warm, and then throw the steak on. Big mistake. What happens when your grill isn't screaming hot is that your steak slowly cooks through before the outside has a chance to develop that crust. You end up with an overcooked interior and a pale, flavorless exterior. It's the worst of both worlds. For a proper steakhouse quality sear, you need your grill to be at its absolute maximum temperature. We're talking 550 degrees, or higher if your grill can do it. Turn every burner to high and close the lid. Let it preheat for at least 10 to 15 minutes. Yes, really. You want that grill so hot that you can barely hold your hand 6 inches above it for more than a second. When you finally lay that steak down, you should hear an immediate, aggressive sizzle. That sound is not just for show, it's the sound of moisture instantly evaporating and the Maillard reaction beginning. If you put your steak down and you hear nothing or just a weak little hiss, your grill is not ready. Take the steak off, close the lid, and wait longer. I know it's tempting to rush this step, but patience here makes all the difference. That intense heat is what creates the contrast between the crusty exterior and the tender, juicy interior. Without it, you're just cooking meat, not crafting an experience. Mistake number 4 is moving the steak too much. I get it, you're excited, you're nervous, you want to check on it. But every time you lift that steak to peek at it, you're interrupting the searing process. When the meat makes contact with those hot grill grates, a crust starts to form. That crust needs uninterrupted time to develop properly. If you keep lifting and moving the steak, you break that crust before it has a chance to set, and you'll never get that perfect caramelization. Here's what you should do instead. When you first put the steak down, press it firmly against the grates to ensure good contact across the entire surface. Then close the lid and walk away. Set a timer for 2.5 minutes and resist every urge to open that grill. When the timer goes off, open the lid and check your steak. It should have beautiful brown grill marks, and the surface should release easily from the grates. If it's sticking, it's not ready to move yet. Once those grill marks are set, give the steak a slight rotation, maybe 30 to 45 degrees. This creates those classic diamond-shaped crosshatch marks that look so impressive. Close the lid again for another 2.5 minutes. Then flip the steak and repeat the exact same process on the other side. The key is to move it with purpose at specific intervals, not to constantly fuss with it. Think of it like this. Every time you touch that steak, you're robbing it of precious searing time. Now for mistake number 5, and this might be the most common one of all. People are not letting their steaks rest, or they're not resting them long enough. I cannot tell you how many times I've seen someone grill a perfect steak, immediately slice into it, and watch all those beautiful juices run out onto the cutting board. It's heartbreaking because those juices should be in your mouth, not wasted on your plate. Here's what's happening inside that steak. When it's cooking on the grill, all the moisture and juices are being forced toward the center by the heat. The muscle fibers are contracting and squeezing tight. If you cut into it immediately, those contracted fibers haven't had time to relax, so all the juice just floods out. But if you let the steak rest for 10 minutes, maybe even a little longer, those muscle fibers slowly relax and reabsorb much of that moisture. When you finally slice into it, the juice stays where it belongs, distributed evenly throughout the meat. I know 10 minutes feels like forever when you've got this incredible smelling steak sitting right in front of you, but this is the difference between a good steak and a transcendent one. During this resting time, the steak is also going through something called carryover cooking. The internal temperature will continue to rise by about 5 to 10 degrees, even though it's off the grill. That's why you want to pull your steak when it reads around 115 degrees internally if you're going for medium rare. By the time it's done resting, it'll be right at that perfect 120 to 125 degree sweet spot. Let me give you one more crucial tip about checking for doneness, because this ties into avoiding all these mistakes. Get yourself an instant read thermometer. I know some people like to use the touch method or the poke test, but when you're learning, nothing beats the accuracy of a good thermometer. You want to check the temperature in the thickest part of the steak, and you want to start checking around the 7-minute mark. Remember, we're pulling it off at 115 for medium rare because of that carryover cooking I mentioned. If you wait until the thermometer reads 125 or 130, it's going to end up medium or even medium well by the time it's rested, and you've lost that perfect pink center. The beauty of avoiding these 5 mistakes is that grilling a steak really is simple once you understand what not to do. You're looking at maybe 10 minutes of active cooking time from the moment that steak hits the grill until you pull it off. The entire process, including prep and rest, is maybe 30 minutes total. But the difference between doing it right and doing it wrong is absolutely massive. When you nail all these steps, you get a steak with a deeply caramelized, almost crispy crust on the outside that's loaded with complex, savory flavors. When you slice into it, you see that gorgeous pink center that's evenly cooked from edge to edge. The texture is tender, the juice stays in the meat, and every bite delivers exactly what a great steak should be. So let's recap the 5 critical mistakes you need to avoid. Don't skip the drying step, it's essential for getting that sear. Season way more generously than you think you should. Get your grill absolutely screaming hot and confirm it with your ears when that steak hits the grates. Stop moving the steak around and let it sear properly. And finally, show some patience and let that steak rest for a full 10 minutes before you even think about cutting into it. Master these 5 fixes, and I promise you'll be grilling steaks that rival any restaurant. Now get out there and put this into practice. Your next cookout is about to be legendary.